Globalization. Globalization refers to the shift toward a more integrated and interdependent world economy. Globalization has several facets, including the globalization of markets and the globalization of production. The globalization of markets. The globalization of markets refers to the merging of historically distinct and separate national markets into one huge global marketplace. Falling barriers to cross-border trade have made it easier to sell internationally. It has been argued for some time that the Taste and International Business and Trade 2020 preferences of consumers in different nations are beginning to converge on some global norm, thereby helping to create a global market. Drivers of globalization. Two macro factors underlie the trend toward greater globalization. The first is the decline in barriers to the free flow of goods, services, and capital that has occurred since the end of World War II. The second factor is technological change, particularly the dramatic developments in recent years in communication, information processing, and transportation technologies. The globalization of production. The globalization of production refers to the sourcing of goods and services from locations around the globe to take advantage of national differences in the cost and quality of factors of production, such as labor, energy, land, and capital. The global economy of the 21st century. As discussed, the past quarter century has seen rapid changes in the global economy. Barriers to the free flow of goods, services, and capital have been coming down. The volume of cross-border trade and investment has been growing more rapidly than global output, indicating that national economies are becoming more closely integrated into single interdependent global economic system. National differences in political economy. A country's political economy refers to its political, economic, and legal systems. These systems are interdependent and interact and influence each other. A country's political system has major implications for the practice of international business. Collectivism, a system that stresses the primacy of collective goals over individual goals. When collectivism is emphasized, the needs of the society as a whole are generally viewed as being more important than individual freedoms. Socialism advocated state ownership of the basic means of production, distribution, and exchange. The state then manages the enterprises for the benefit of society as a whole. What is the difference between a democracy and totalitarianism? Democracy, political system in which government is by the people, exercised either directly or through elected representatives. Totalitarianism, form of government in which one person or political party exercises absolute control over all spheres of human life, and opposing political parties are prohibited. Corruption. Corruption is present in all countries to some degree. However, when a country has a high level of corruption, foreign direct investment falls, international trade falls, economic growth falls.
How would you describe the people that live nearby? Are they friends? Part of your family? Strangers? Maybe you live somewhere where there is a mix of people of all colors, shapes, sizes, and behaviors. The bottom line is that everyone is different. We're all unique individuals. And just as there are things that you enjoy doing, foods you and your family like to eat, holidays that you celebrate, and a religion that you may be part of, people all around you have their own set of things that they like to do as well. A culture is a special and unique way of living. All the things that people do and believe, and the activities that are important to them, make up the culture that they belong to.
Cultural change. Culture evolves over time, although changes in value systems can be slow and painful for a society. International Business and Trade 2020. Education. Formal education is the medium through which individuals learn many of the language, conceptual, and mathematical skills that are indispensable in a modern society. The knowledge-based training and education opportunities available to country citizens can also give it a competitive advantage in the market and make it a more or less attractive place or expanding business. International trade theory. Mercantilism advocated that countries should simultaneously encourage exports and discourage imports. Free trade, a situation where a government does not attempt to influence through quotas or duties what its citizens can buy from another country or what they can produce and sell to another country. According to Smith, trade is not a zero-sum game. Countries should specialize in the production of goods for which they have an absolute advantage and then trade these goods for the goods produced by other countries. The gains from trade. The theory of comparative advantage trade is a positive sum game in which all gain. Potential world production is greater with unrestricted free trade than it is with restricted trade. Provides a strong rationale for encouraging free trade. The product life cycle theory propose the product life cycle as product mature, both location of sales and the optimal production location will change, affecting the flow and direction trade. Implication of new trade theory. Nations may benefit from trade even when they do not differ in resource, endowments, or technology. A country may predominate in the export of a good simply. The political economy of international trade. Instrument of trade policy. Uses 7 main instruments: tariffs, subsidies, import quotas, voluntary export restraints, local content requirements, administrative policies, and anti-dumping duties. Economic arguments for interventions. Infant industry arguments suggest that an industry should be protected until it can develop and be viable and competitive internationally. The future of WTO. Anti-dumping policies. Encouraging members to strengthen the regulations governing the imposition of anti-dumping duties. Protectionism in agriculture. Concerned with the high level of tariffs and subsidies in the agricultural sector of many economies. Foreign direct investments. FDI directed at the developed nations of the world. Inflows have remained high during the early 20s for the US and European Union. FDI important source of capital investment and a determinant of the future growth rate of economy. Effects on competition and economic growth. Increase the level of competition in market, drives down price, improve the welfare of consumers, increase productivity growth, product and process innovation, greater economic growth. Home country policies. In encouraging outward FDI, many nations have government-backed insurance programs to cover major types of foreign investment risk, eliminated double taxation of foreign income, relaxed restrictions of inbound FDI.
Globalization, it involves everything. The world has fasting changes, technological advancements, creates essential way of living, a trading system which support in human in order to sustain needs to survive, to live well. Globalization has two facets, the market and the production. When it comes in globalization market, it's about national markets into huge global marketplace. A trading system internationally includes the flow of goods and services and capital technological changes in communication information, processing, transportation, while in production it pertains in sourcing of goods and services from locations around the globe which support the needs and wants of
National differences in political economy. When we say political economy, it includes political, economic, and legal systems. These systems interact with each other and influence one another. It has major implications for the practice of international business. Collectivism is a system that stresses the primacy of the collective goals over individual goals. Socialism is about state of ownership of basic means of production, distribution, and exchange. Individualism suggests that individuals should have freedom. It also discussed the difference between democracy and totalitarianism. When we say democracy, it is when people elected representatives, while totalitarianism is a form of government that one person or political party govern or control the overall spheres of human life. There are four major forms of totalitarianism today. Those are communist, theocratic, tribal, and right-wing totalitarianism. It also discussed the three types of economic systems: the market, the mixed economy. Another is the legal systems, proper rights, and corruption.
Hello guys, my name is Ryan Edwin Marco and I am from BSPA FM 3103. So now I will tell you my conclusion about differences in culture. Cultural differences are the various beliefs, behaviors, languages, practices, and expressions considered unique to members of a specific ethnicity, race, or national origin. Some examples of cultural differences as they pertain to the workplace include employees who are younger or older than their coworkers, employees who hold higher degrees than others in the workplace, and individuals who grew up in either metropolitan areas or small towns. It is said that employees often have more similarities than they do differences, but those differences can sometimes outweigh the similarities. While these various differences can create a more vibrant office, they can also lead to more than a few problems resulting from culture clash. So that's all, and thank you.
Hello guys, I'm Melanie Sabatin. I conclude that international trade theories are theories that simply define international trade. Trade is a concept of exchanging goods and services between two people or entities. International trade is the concept of this exchange between two people or entities in different countries. They may need or want the goods and services. There is a great deal of theory, policy, and business strategy that constitute international trade. With trade, a nation can be able to specialize in producing a narrower range and then buy the goods that it doesn't make from other countries. Each nation then simultaneously increases the variety of goods that are available to its consumer. International trade allows the country to specialize its manufacturer, export a product that can be produced efficiently in that country.
Hi guys, my name is James Iban Bajam from BSBA 2103. So today I'm gonna tell you my conclusion. Why have trade barriers declining globally since 1980? Clearly, in the 1980s, many political leaders and some societal groups in countries around the globe changed their views on what their best trade policy choice was. Political leaders and LDCs launched ambitious unilateral economic reforms that they include massive trade liberalization, while leaders in the advanced industrial countries undertook large multilateral efforts to reduce trade barriers for the lateral groups. It is hard to pinpoint changes in political institutions or democratization as playing a major role. Instead, the virtuous cycling growing trade creating more groups in favor of trade liberalization, which in turn created more impetus for greater liberalization, and more than seems to be a key factor. So that's all. Thank you.
Good morning guys, I'm John Vincent Lara from BSBA 3103 and I will tell to you my conclusion about foreign direct investment. A foreign direct investment is an investment made by a firm or individual in one country into business interests located in another country. It also takes place when an investor establishes a foreign business operations or acquires foreign business asset in a foreign company. An example of foreign direct investment is that when a business expands its domestic operation into a foreign country. In this case, the business conducts the same activities but in a foreign country. For example, McDonald's opening restaurant in Japan would be considered horizontal foreign direct investment. So that's all guys. Thank you for listening.